Hey, what's up, guys? So a little while ago, I was on ChatGPT and I was asking, why is it that tube amps sound harmonically rich when you strike a chord, whereas with amp sims it sounds flat and sterile, and it just sounds kind of gross and just not musically pleasing to your ear. I've always had this issue with amp sims. This is what I disliked about amp sims ever since I started using them, is that you could chug on them, you could play some at the gates style riffage, but then when it comes down to playing chords, it just doesn't work at all. It just sounds like a cluttered mess to your ears harmonically. So yeah, ChatGPT said that it's not the tubes, it's the analog circuitry. It's reacting to your playing. It's kind of vibrating and expanding, or it's an elastic to your playing. Whereas an amp sim is very much static and set in stone, so it doesn't really react to chords well. It's okay for single string stuff, and chugs, but for chords it just doesn't work right. So it led me down the rabbit hole, and basically I found out that AxeFX uses analog circuit simulation, and that's why Metallica uses it, because it's exactly the same as a real amp in terms of the specs, the schematics. So that's really the main difference, and there's a gem of knowledge in there. AxeFX is superior to basically every modeler out there because of that one fact. The Quad Cortex uses captures, and it's static, it's fixed. You're not going to get as close to an AxeFX in that sense, because it's not reacting to your playing at all. It's just kind of converting. It's like a filter. It's like an EQ, but it doesn't react to your playing at all in the same way anyways. It does react a little bit, and there is some technology under the hood with Quad Cortex that it's superior to most amp sims, but still not as good as AxeFX. So I'm not trying to plug AxeFX. It's just a fact that it's just a better technology. So if you're in the market for a modeler, I personally would go with AxeFX 3, like the AM4 that just came out. It's a good price, really good price, and it's just the best technology for that sort of thing. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I realized that it's the analog circuit simulation that AxeFX that gives it that realistic feel and harmonically rich sound, whereas other amp sims, it's set in stone. It's like static, and I went down the rabbit hole and asked ChatGPT what sort of amp sims use analog circuit simulation, and it spit out a couple of weird ones I've never heard of. And I basically, it came down to about three of them. There's the PV Revolver, Live Spice, and this app called Hornet, which I'm going to show you guys in a sec here. But the fundamental nugget of information that I'm trying to convey here is that you want to be using an amp sim that uses analog circuit simulation, and I think that's really the future, because I've seen a few people on YouTube experimenting with this, and I think that's really where things are heading, because captures, they're just it's kind of like an impulse response where it doesn't really react to your playing. It's kind of just set in stone and doesn't move. Look at this description though. This is a perfect description. What sets Hornet Gutiar Kit apart from traditional guitar amp simulators is its use of physical modeling instead of relying on convolved impulse response. While many other simulators use pre-recorded snapshots of real-world amps, cabinets, and microphones, which can often feel static and restrictive, Hornet Gutiar Kit offers dynamic and flexible physical models of each of its components. This approach allows you to not only replicate the sound of a classic and modern amplifier, but also fine-tune and customize every part of your signal chain to suit your preferences. That's exactly what I was looking for, and that's fits the description perfectly. I was looking for something that reacts to your playing, and it's not static. He's using the key term here, static and restrictive. That's a perfect description. So enough with me talking. I'll show you guys a quick example of how it sounds. I'm gonna use Gojira, just a stock Gojira plugin, because everyone knows that one and likes it. I think most people would agree in the amp world that this is a good plugin. It sounds good. I'm just going to use the stock plugins, IRs. And now this is it's called Hornet Guitar Kit. Don't judge a book by its cover, even though it doesn't look as cool as Neural DSP, obviously, but it sounds great. Interesting thing about this is that you can choose the input type, preamp tube type, the high gain type. There's a lot of different options you can go through to really create a unique tone. But I find that these are pretty much the best settings, at least for my guitar. Might be a little bit different for you, but the 12AX7 on the preamp and the high gain works great with the 6 LS6s. So I'm going to use my impulse response and NA 808 as my boost. And this is how it sounds. So to me, it's not exactly like a tube amp. Obviously, it's not as good because I'm using an impulse response, and real tubes are a little bit more warm sounding. But I think it is quite a lot closer to a real amp in terms of the harmonic richness of it. When I hit a chord, I can hear that it's a full chord, and it sounds like a G altogether, and I can still hear the individual strings. Whereas with the Gojira, it just sounded cluttered and then just kind of like a wall of fuzz when I hit a chord. So yeah, that's basically the gist of what I want to show you guys. You want to be going with analog simulators, whereas Neural Amp Modeler and ToneX and Neural DSP, those are captures, and it's kind of like an impulse response where it's not reacting to what you're playing. So you're really not going to get a harmonically rich sound with that. Like if you're just doing metal, single string stuff and chugs, then this is perfectly fine. But most players, they like to mix it up and throw in some chords here and there. Myself included, I like black metal stuff. So yeah, this is just not as good as an analog circuit simulator. However, there is PV Revolver. This is not the only one. And there's also Live Spice. Like if you check out my previous video, I released a kit, kind of like a package of all the Live Spice circuits available. But the only problem with that is that it's really hard on your CPU, and it's kind of buggy, and it doesn't work that well, to be honest. Whereas this one, it's nice and polished. Look how low CPU this runs, 0.8%, and I got 4 different plugins running. So in terms of smoothness of the sound quality, this is the way to go, I think, in terms of getting closer to the analog sound. But yeah, hope you guys took away something, and have a great day. Cheers.